Hello guys and welcome to the video. It's Eclipse here, and today we are looking at update 4.6 on World of Tanks console. We're going to have a look at some of the updates and all of the information regarding this update and see exactly what Wargaming have implemented into the game. So to start off with, we have quite a few new Mercenary tech tree vehicles, starting off with a tier 3 French and German tank. It's pretty average. It's a tier 3. There's not much you can say really for it. Then we've got a tier 9 medium tank, the sharpshooter. The sharpshooter is a mixture of, I believe, a German gun. We've got the chieftain turret, and then we've got a T95 E2 hull. So it's not amazing in terms of the hull, but then you have got the chieftain turret, which is ridiculous. And so yeah, that looks like something interesting to pick up. However, you do need around about 1.4 million XP throughout the entirety of all of the ops or the contract stages, so be aware of that when you try and put it on. You do need around 1.4 million XP to pick it up. Then we've got the tier 6 light tank, the Stinger. It's a mixture between an American and French light tank. Looks pretty good. Definitely recommend picking it up if you're into the light tanks and anything like that. Next one we can see is the tier 6 heavy tank, the Long Reach, and it's a mixture of British, German and Soviet engineering, and something interesting to always have a look at. And then we've got a tier 4 light tank, the Thunder Bucket. It's got, I don't know, it's not that good realistically. It's kind of like a Chinese and American mixture of the M3 Stuart, so nothing to write home about. And then we've got the Roundabout, a tier 4 tank destroyer. Looks alright, but it's tier 4, don't really cover that many tier 4 tanks, so I wouldn't recommend dabbling around in that tier. I'd rather focus on anything tier 6 and above. Next one is the tier 5 heavy tank, the Deadbolt. It's a mixture of French, Swedish and Japanese, and something to always pick up as well. Next up is the new tier 10 heavy tank, and it is the Machine. This is a combination of the French, British and Czechoslovakian tanks, and they are the chieftain turret. We have the French AMX 50B lower light hull, and then we've also got the Czechoslovakian auto-loading gun. So this is a bit of a ridiculous tank. I think it's something you should always have a look at right now. Make sure you're understanding whether you want to pick it up, because it is going to cost you 1.7 or 1.8 million XP throughout all of the stages, but I would definitely recommend it from the stats. The Czechoslovakian gun is ridiculous, and then giving the tank armour and speed of the 50B due to its engine. It's got a 21 horsepower to ton ratio, and so it's going to be able to get up to its top speed of 67 kilometers an hour, I believe. But then, you know, you've got to have a look at some of the other factors of 1.7 million XP. Are you going to actually be able to get that? If not, then there's no point in even trying to get it. But there are some extra rewards in terms of premium time, etc. that you can get. And if you can't get this one, you can always go for the tier 9, which requires 1.4 to 1.5 million XP. And then you've also got the tier 7 and lower tanks that you can pick up as well. The next big update in update 4.6 is the artillery trajectory cam, and this is something brand new into World of Tanks in terms of the console version. However, there have been mods on PC, and I'm pretty sure you can actually get it in the standard version as well on PC, is the artillery trajectory cam. So whilst you're playing artillery now, you can actually follow the shell as to where it's going to go in terms of the shell. When it goes in, you can actually follow along the path of the shell, so hence the trajectory cam. So this is something interesting for if you like seeing if you hit a tank or how far away you missed, etc. But it's not so good for the overall overarching kind of view of the field, so you want to be switching in between both in certain situations. Next up is something everyone's been wanting for ages and ages and ages, and that is the health bar numbers. So now we can actually see when you kill a tank the numbers above their health to show you exactly what your potential of killing them is, if you're going to be able to kill them in 1 shot, 2 shots, 3 shots, 4 shots, if you're good at maths or quick maths at the time. So that is really good for knowing when and when not to trade with another tank. Next up is a very divided topic. Now this is platoon changes. I agree with it in some ways, but at the same time I don't think it's the best idea, because what happens is, or what Wargaming have done, is they've limited matchmaking when in platoons so that you can only be the exact same tier as the platoon leader. So this means that if you're in an artillery at tier 9, you can't play with tier 8 heavy tanks or tier 10 heavy tanks if people you know are playing like that. So it's kind of a bit annoying in terms of if you've got a friend that isn't quite at the same tier as you, and you want to play 2 different tanks that are maybe +1, -1. I feel like that is actually okay in terms of matchmaking, but I understand that if you get KV2s in tier 10 games, it's pretty stupid, because obviously you can platoon up with a tier 8. I understand that the +2 -2 kind of matchmaking didn't really work in terms of when you're playing World of Tanks in a platoon, because obviously you can then have a +4 matchmaking with difference. +1 -1's a bit more fairer, I believe, because obviously artillery and such can actually be implemented in, but limiting it to just playing in the same tier, I don't believe was the right choice. I feel like +1 -1 would have been better in terms of that. Anyway, the next one is the garage has been updated to reflect these new rules. So obviously when you try and pick a tank that isn't the same tier, it will give you a warning message, etc. Next one is you can now invite people basically a lot easier in the garage apparently, but they keep saying this and they keep saying, oh, it's easier, blah blah blah, but it doesn't seem to make it that much easier, and in some updates they've actually made it harder. So we're gonna have to wait and see through actually playing the game and seeing how it is to see. What else have we got? We've got tank rebalancing. So this is something that Wargaming have said that they've done, but they've not given us any evidence as to what they've done in game. So that I'm waiting for like a list of what they've actually done, what vehicles they've changed, and what they've done to them, to actually see like how it's going to impact the game in total. But I have seen that the AMX Chaffee, the tier 6 French light tank, is now at tier 7 due to it having +3 matchmaking. So I'm guessing that they've updated that. It's still the same gold price, so if you want to pick up a tier 7 light tank that's French for just 3,800 gold, it's actually a pretty good idea to pick that one up. You've also got tier 10 tech tree additions, so that's something very, very interesting and something that I am going to be grinding my way towards. At the moment I am on the Churchill 7 towards the Super Conqueror, which I have made a video about, but I'm going to post that in a couple days time to let you know how to take it out on the battlefield. And then we also have the Chinese tier 10 heavy tank, the WZ-111-5A. Both will have respective videos coming out fairly soon to give you some insight into what the tank is like and where to shoot it, etc., and how you can best play each tank to its preferred play style. As you can see, here is the WZ on screen right now. If I make it full screen, that's what it looks like. It's kind of like a tier 10 equivalent of a T10. So it's a really nice tank at tier 10. It's got a nice alpha damage and everything like that. This is the Super Conqueror as well on screen. It's basically a souped up version of a Conqueror. However, the Conqueror did also receive a buff, and so did the Caen as well. They've both got turret upgrades and they've both got hull armor upgrades as well. So that's something, if you play either of those tanks, that you can grab hold of and see what's actually happened. The Caen, once I seen in the game whilst I was playing a minute ago, it actually looked rather good. Someone was playing, but then again, obviously grass looked greener on the other side. but we'll have to wait and see till I play it, and maybe I'll give you my opinion on it as well. Next on our update list is the 2 new maps, or 2 updated variants of the maps that they've already got in World of Tanks, and that is Caen-1944 and Pearl River 1944, I'm guessing. So this is something that is interesting because obviously Caen was not widely received as a great map in the first place, so we'll have to see what it looked like in the game from this point onwards with regards to 1944, because obviously Redshire received an update to 1944, and I thought that was actually a worse map than the original, so we'll have to see. Hopefully Caen will be the opposite. It's actually a better map than the original. You can only play it from tier 7 and above, so if you're in a game, it's got to be tier 7 and above. It's a summer style map, so there's no rain, etc., so you won't have to worry about worse terrain resistances than usual. And you can get standard game mode, team destruction, encounter and assault on the map. Next one is Pearl River. This is and it's basically tiers 4+, and the only map types that you can actually have, or game modes, is standard and team destruction, so no assault. The valley map, so that's okay. Thanks for watching the video, guys. I hope you found it somewhat informative, or you found some interest in there. If you want to see more of my content, then you can click on the links in the description. That will give you some playlists that you can go through, tank reviews, etc. Or you can click on screen right now and you'll see 2 videos there. One will be random and one will be something similar. Hopefully you will click on them, and I shall hope to see you in another video soon. Goodbye.